Right. Florida Congressman Randy Fine sits on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and he joins us now. Congressman, great to see you, as always. We heard that report from Zach Anders. How do you read the latest developments in the war with Iran, especially given what we're seeing with the latest pauses in strikes?
Well, I think there's a lot we know, and I think there's a lot that we don't know. And I think what the president has shown is over 13 days, he can hit anything he wants in Iran without an issue. We hold all the cards. And perhaps that pause was put in place to try again to see if we can bring the Iranians to heel. I think what they say in public may be a little different than what they do in private. But I think what's clear is we hold all the cards, and we are making sure that they will never get a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Ukraine. We're hearing from White House officials that President Trump and Zelensky are set to meet in Washington tomorrow. I mean, I don't think we can forget that meeting about a year ago in the Oval that took a very, unexpected turn, to say the least. Obviously, a lot's happened since then, Congressman. What do you expect to come out of this meeting between the two tomorrow?
Well, I think he'll show up in a suit, for starters, and I think he'll show appropriate respect to the president. But I think what is clear is, Ukraine is winning. They've changed how war is done by inventing all of this drone technology. They are now holding Russia to a standstill, and hopefully they'll talk about how we bring that conflict in for a landing and make sure that it doesn't expand into other parts of the world. But make no mistake, Russia's plans were Ukraine first, not Ukraine last. And I think that's why Ukraine fighting back has been so important.
Yeah, President Trump will also be meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and they are set to talk about intelligence sharing. And of course, the U.S. and Israel are aligned in so many ways. What are you expecting from that meeting?
Well, I think they're going to talk about how things are going. I mean, I think they're going to talk about what peace in the Middle East. I think they're really going to focus in on Iran and how do we get this to an end. I mean, that's what everyone wants. But what everyone needs to understand is the same religious fanatics that are stabbing people in France, that are running people over in Germany, they're the ones who run Iran. That is what they believe. That is how they operate. And so dealing with evil is a difficult thing. And I'm sure the prime minister and the president are going to talk about the next steps to fully defeat Iran and open it up to the Iranian people.
Yeah, Congressman, I mean, you're not afraid to give that honest take. I would love to know what you think about the situation in New York City where Mayor Zohran Mamdani was threatening to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, knowing full well he had no legal authority. What do you make of that whole debacle and how the mayor of New York City looks in the aftermath?
Well, I think the debacle is ongoing. I think he has blood on his hands. It is not a coincidence after he did a blood libel against the Jews that someone yelling Allahu Akbar went and stabbed two people.
That's right.
He's now saying he wants protests in the streets when Bibi Netanyahu shows up in New York. He doesn't say that for Vladimir Putin. He doesn't say that for the head of Iran. He doesn't say that for Sudan or any other horrific run country in the world. The fact of the matter, we have to accept this. A Muslim terrorist runs the city of New York in the same way the people from Hamas who sit in Qatar and Turkey run it without blowing themselves up. Zohran Mamdani repeats their propaganda, and that makes him a terrorist just as bad as they are.
In terms of what we're seeing, though, to your point, the rhetoric has just been horrific. And for the Jewish community, many are coming out, at least in New York, saying they're very concerned. They want to move to places like Florida as a result of what they're hearing, what they're seeing. I mean, Congressman, what are you hearing from the Jewish community as someone who's been very vocal about anti-Semitism rampant across our country?
Well, I hear about it all the time. When I was in the Florida legislature for 8 years, one of my goals was to make Florida the safest place in America to be Jewish. And we delivered on that. We don't have the problems in Florida that they have in New York. And that's why you see Jews by the thousands moving here. That's a great thing for Florida, but that's a terrible thing for New York and, frankly, a terrible thing for America. Because what we are going to see is our greatest city, New York City, hollowed out. And the only people who will be there are lunatics who support nuts like Zohran Mamdani. It is a scary time to be Jewish in America, and it is a terrifying time to be Jewish in New York. And we've got to do something about the guy that is in charge there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are a lot of New Yorkers that would say exactly that this morning. Florida Congressman Randy Fine, thank you.
Thank you.